to start the recording. Thank you. Okay, so thank you for coming tonight. I appreciate you all attending, and I'm excited about tonight's speaker. Michael, would you give us a wave so people can recognize which person you are? Yeah, there he is. Michael North. I met Michael North many years ago through the Boy Scouts program. He was an amazing leader for our youth, and he always had words of wisdom and a great sense of humor for the adults as well. After Michael moved out of the area, I lost direct touch with him. But after I began my spiritual journey, I found him on Facebook. I really enjoy his posts, and I hope some of you have had the opportunity to get to know him there as well. I'm personally very interested in his channeling classes, which I am going to sign up for, and the love circles that he's established. And he makes some wonderful predictions through his astrology programs. And he channels through his guides, the Michaels, plural. And when they come through to him, he steps back and lets them do the talking. Pretty cool. And I hope he'll share a little bit about all that tonight. I'm going to share a little bit about Michael in his own words. Michael has been able to informally channel since he was very small. He was told that he had an aptitude for it in the 1980s, but he had to raise a family, and so he pushed it to the side. That changed in 2004 when his employer, AT&T, unceremoniously let him go, and he decided it was time to take advantage of his gift. They were doing that with a lot of people back then.
They sure were.
He channels other energies too, mainly healing through his hands. He's been a channel for a group of guides collectively known as Michael as a vocation for over 20 years now. He's been working with new material of theirs for about 3 years. It helps people figure out if they can channel, how they can help other people get along better. And it does more than just help them see the world in a new way. It helps to shift themselves and others towards creating more alignment between the people that exist here. I love that. He teaches that material one-on-one still, although he's writing a book about it. How's that coming, Mike?
It's about 15% away through the way of draft 1.
Oh, okay. We're working on it.
We're working on it.
Yeah. He also has study groups of people who complete material. Michael calls it AA for new channels.
Yeah.
I also do private sessions if you just want to talk to his guides directly. So with that, I have now pressed the record button and we're on, and I'm going to hand it over to Michael.
Sure.
Thank you.
I'm going to talk for about 3 minutes. They're going to talk, with your permission, for about 20, 25 minutes.
Okay.
And then at that point, it's Q&A time.
Okay.
And I'll feed they'll answer. One of the things they like to say is, if you have the nerve to ask, they have the nerve to answer. So you can ask about anything, and you can imagine the things I've been asked about. I knew I was able to do this when I was very small, 6, 7 years old. I knew I could do this. I could take tests and know what to do. I could figure out when kids got lost, where they got lost. I could get answers to people's health problems before doctors did. Probably the most rewarding work I do is when people come to me and say the doctors don't know what's wrong, tell me what's wrong. More often than not, I can help them figure that out. I know of at least 8 or 9 people that would be dead today if I hadn't worked with them. Yeah. That's probably the other thing that I love to do is help families who are having people transition in their family from the physical plane to the astral plane, from being alive on the planet to going to the next layer, and helping them process the energy shift that they have to process in order to help the person who's going to leave. I've worked with some people who are in the process of transitioning themselves, but I love to specialize in the family because they're the ones who need the support, not the people who are leaving typically. People who are leaving have decided to leave. I love to do politics. I love to do weather prediction. I love to do. I love to work with other channels and people who channel. And the teaching that I latched onto was from an energy that calls itself Michael. It's 1,050 people who were all alive on the physical plane until about 3,000 years ago, and then they got done with their lifetimes, processed off as old souls, and want to help the planet advance, very similar to Seth or Abraham or Bashar or Archangel Michael, or, and I could name you 10 other energies that they're similar to. They're teachers. And their original teaching that they came out with in the 1980s, there were books called Messages from Michael and More Messages from Michael. And their first set of teachings was about identifying the personality and energetic characteristics of individual humans. Now they're starting to transition into, now that we understand what the basic characteristics of humans look like, which are just sentient versions of God forces in human bodies, how do we get them to all work together? So that's where they want to start today. Okay, here they go. There's two versions of them that I channel most frequently. One is more conversational, slightly different register, but not much. Then there's the king side. They call that the warrior side of them. And then there's the king side of them, which gets very deep, very slow in their thinking. And they said they would make an appearance to that version of them. Some people are more attracted to one version of them versus another. Ah, thanks. I wanted to get that out as fast as I could to leave space for them. First, you all came here because you're interested in evolving yourself. You're all interested in finding a better way to be, a higher frequency to attain and maintain and support other people. You aren't doing this just for you. You are doing this because you want to help others, even if that means you can only be a better you. We would tell you if you can be a better you, and that's as far as you ever get, that the transmission of filtered energy from a higher plane of existence through you out into the rest of the planet elevates the energy of the rest of the planet. You don't have to do anything on the planet other than be the best you can figure out how to be. We don't see things as bad or good, wrong or right, because everything that you do is a lesson. You get to come back, or a different version of you gets to come back. You are you. You are exactly who you are. And when you're done with this physical body, you as you exactly are now, never return. So when people say you only live once, you can say, yes, that's actually true. Mike will only be Mike one time. But a different version of his higher self will appear and pick up where this version of him left off. Just like previous versions of this version of him have existed for 112,000 years. Let us scan the group and see who's the oldest one here. The Asian woman is about, yes, you. We saw your face go, whoa, me, he's going to pick on me. Oh my gosh, no, don't let them pick on me. You are about 118,000 years old. Yeah, that's when you first got here in northern Sudan. Anybody not started in northern Sudan or southern Egypt? Don't see anyone. A couple of you had some experimental lifetimes in Morocco early on, where some of the earliest hominids came from. You've lived in every place that's imaginable for you to live. Is there anyone who hasn't lived on every continent yet? No. Asia, Pacific Islands, Europe, Russia, China, Japan, South America. The woman in the blue with the black hair, but she's got like a blue coat on, light blue coat on.
Correct.
Yeah, it's lovely. You were Incan, and an Incan priestess, for example.
Mm.
Didn't enjoy that life as much as you did some other ones because the responsibility of being an Incan priestess was onerous. That's where he knew you from. He knew you in that lifetime. You were priestesses together. We don't want to make this an entertainment show about, whoa, you lived in Japan and you were the feudal Japanese and you were samurai. Although we could do that, and we will answer those questions soon enough. But all of you that are on this call are what we would consider an older soul. Older than the midpoint, older than 2/3 of the people that exist on this planet. Most sentient humans that have been born to this point are going to have a minimum of 125 lifetimes. Some of you have had as many as 300 lifetimes. Humans will inhabit this planet for another 8,000 years or so and finally be done. And you go through a series of phases where you learn about all the things that will kill you. We call that the infant soul phase. That takes 20 or 30 lifetimes. Eat this, don't eat that. Those people are dangerous. Those people aren't. Learn to wash yourself, things like that. Then you go through a baby soul phase of your lifetimes. All of you have completed that. Baby souls learn about the structures of family and of small communities. Humans came to this planet sequentially. There are net about 1.2 billion people on this planet, souls, incarnated souls. Okay, you'll say to us, there's 8 billion bodies on this planet. How does that work? And that's because almost everyone that's here has got multiple versions of themselves alive on the planet today. Some as many as 20, depending on how much spiritual advancement they want to do. And it doesn't matter right now whether or not you're a really, really older soul or an intermediate level soul or a relatively young soul. Everyone's trying to accelerate their spiritual growth because the planet is moving into a phase of community that we'll discuss in a minute. Maybe 3. About 30% of the United States is what we call baby souls. They exist mostly between Denver and Wheeling, West Virginia, in the center of the United States. They tend to be very religious. They like firm rules and authoritarian leadership. We're not here to talk about politics today because that just degrades the conversation. But they tend to like authoritarian leadership. The same is true of people who live in China or India, Pakistan, or Russia. Will Russia ever figure out how to get rid of their authoritarian leadership? No, not right away. Because there are 45% of the souls in Russia are baby souls, almost 50 million of them. And they like authoritarian leadership because they think they're safer that way. Eventually you move out of, I'm going to let somebody else run things, and I'm just going to worry about learning about family and fire departments and police departments, high schools, being able to take a vacation maybe. And you move into a very achievement phase of your lifetimes. Baby souls run 50, 60 lifetimes, maybe 70. Takes a long time to learn the rules of society. Then young soul phase is 30 to 40 lifetimes. There's about 20% of the United States is young soul. So almost half. The United States is either baby or young. There are very, very few infant souls left on the planet anymore. Everyone that's here has figured out how to survive. in a humanoid Homo sapien body. And they're very much about what they can achieve and how much authority they can have. And it's about me, 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 me. And then when you get done with those lifetimes, you switch over to what we call the we phase of existence, which is the mature soul phase and the old soul phase. The mature soul phase is I want to see everyone as an equal. And somewhere around 35%, 34% of the United States is mature soul. They see everyone has the right to vote. Everyone has the right to health care. Europe has more mature souls than the United States does, far more than China does or India does. But the entire planet is transitioning from having an average soul being young to being an average soul being mature. And then finally, there's 17% of the planet or so, a little bit less than that in the United States, that's old soul. And what they care about is what's my spiritual journey been? And what is it that my spirit can become before I've decided I don't need any more human lifetimes to learn things? Almost all of you are old. Yeah, you might have suspected that. And we don't mean just chronologically, we just mean spiritually, where what's important to you is a spiritual journey of what does this all mean and what have I learned? Whenever you transition from baby soul to young soul or young soul to mature soul now or mature soul to old soul, those are times of great tumult, and you're in one right now. Enormous tumult right now. It will get worse before it gets better. Probably next summer. Maybe next fall. No later than a winter from now. About 16 months at the most. The younger souls that are here that run banks and corporations and institutions and most of the political structures, we're not getting into politics too much today, are interested in power for power's sake, riches for riches' sake. They'll very reluctantly give that up. And so something like a French Revolution, American Revolution, in a less violent way is coming. Whether it starts in the United States or starts some other place is hard to know because parallel universes exist and there are many different ways this can play out, but that there's some sort of shift towards empowering more people with power and authority is indisputable in our view. What we asked Mike to do and a couple of other channels to do is empower people to be available to be able to transmit our energy or some other energy that they want to transmit. It could be Reiki energy, it could be Council of One energy, it could be Abraham, it could be whatever energy you get. Even if you just get a higher version of you. To be available to be an energetic icon, an energetic transmission point, so that people feel like they will remain safe and they will be able to find people they can trust to work with so that they can begin to take more control of their existence. That will scare some people. There is a good percentage of the planet that does not want to take authority over their own existence. They would rather hand that boat to somebody else and tell them to sail it for them. And we respect that there are people that want that because they don't have enough lifetimes on the planet to know what to do with that. We do. We'll let our king side speak for a sec. What we can tell you is what Gandhi said. What Gandhi said is that it is not important what you do, but it is enormously important that you do it. Your work to help heal people or connect with people or protect people or empower people, admire people, encourage people is enormously important. When things get troublesome as they are now, the most powerful source of energy is hope. There is a phrase in the vernacular that we choose to dismiss, which is hope is not a strategy. We disagree strongly. Hope exists right here under your collarbone. The weakest bone in your body, by the way, for humans, is your collarbone. It's broken more often than any other bone in your body. And your vibration of hope is right here. Respect is right here. And if you go through our lessons yet, we're not here to advertise that. But if you were to go through that, you would recognize what energies come out of what part of your body. About 40,000 frequencies total go through humans. Hope goes through right under the collarbone. All right, take a deep breath. It'll be okay. Ingest hope. It's also the highest vibratory rate, the highest vibratory pattern, right here in the collarbone, relative to the rest of your emotional center, which starts about your navel and goes up to your collarbone. We're not here to do a chakra class, although we give those. But hope is the evolution of listening, which we appreciate you doing today, turning that into respect for other people. Because if you listen, you create respect for them. You begin to understand the journey they've taken to get to this spot in either this life or all of their lives, depending on how far back you want to look. That respect creates empathy. Empathy comes back to you as compassion. Compassion in volume is hope, or is love. Compassion in volume is what love is. Love is bidirectional. I die. The love between Mike and Diane is enormous, and Mike and Mary is enormous. So much compassion between them over so many events that they have a profound love bonding between each other and between Diane and Mary. Spoiler alert. And hope is love cast into the future. Hope is, I wish for you to have a great day. It could be as simple as that. Hope is, I want the planet to be safe so people have the ability to evolve and choose as they want and be given the freedom and the authority for them to be able to do that. And if they choose to give up their authority, that's great. But if they choose to give up my authority, we have an issue. Hope is the thing that is most helpful now. What he attempts to do with his lessons that we give him through Facebook, talking about his grandchildren, he lets us talk twice a week now. And with his groups, his love circles for people who go through the learning of how to become a channel and recognize your aptitudes, which is distinct and unique for all of you. There is no one way to do it. There is the way you do it. We want you to get that. That each of you filters energy through you. There's no way you cannot put your own personal spin on it. That's like asking Mars to operate like Jupiter. You're your own little ball of almost planetary like condensated energy. And it goes through you and spins out. And people go, oh, that's Diane, that's Mary, that's Virgil, that's whatever energy you recognize. You all knew each other before you came to this planet, before your first lifetime. Before your first lifetime, you all knew each other. Everyone here did. And when you're done with this planet in 7, 8, 10,000 years, most, you'll all recognize each other and say, that was a fun trip. It just doesn't seem like it now. Because the people who are interested in me, because they think that's the way they can protect themselves the most, are terrified of becoming we. And what we try to help people see is that there's hope for everyone if we all look out for each other. And that's what connective or alignment channeling that we do, or we teach people now, it's about. How can we together look out for each other? We think that's enough. If you want to ask us a question, we'll answer it.
Oh, we're up for the Q&A portion.
Yep.
The guides will answer. So does anybody have a question? Just wave at me, or you can use the chat.
One at a time, though. Just one at a time.
Yeah, we'll take one at a time. Anybody?
Diane has a question. We saw her hand go up.
Don't scratch your face because your hand goes up. If you have a question, just you can unmute.
Yeah, unmute. Somebody's trying to speak there. The two of you are together and you didn't unmute your phone, unmute the computer.
Sharice and Diana, no questions?
Yeah.
Oh, Diana, do you have a question?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I got questions. So,
Oh yeah.
I am someone who was male born and now I am transitioning to living as a woman.
Sure.
When I've done past life regressions, I've almost always seen myself as either a mother or like an Amazon warrior. To what you were saying about the next, let's say 8, 12, 16 months being really intense, there are times, excuse me, I cannot envision living that far out, mainly because of the contradictions of what my process is relative to what's going on in this country politically and socially and so on. Mm-hmm. Because I know intuitively I'm going to become progressively more and more feminine looking, both in terms of my facial structure and my body. And the irony is that I lived most of my adult life as a pretty masculine looking and acting male. So I am curious to hear what you see relative to my situation.
Sure. In this process of transitioning away from being mature soul, me oriented on this planet, which started 14,000 years ago or so, gender identification became very important. That male, that female. Before then, male energied males and female energied females were common. And female energied people who showed up in their bodies were considered fine. In the younger soul world, that's not fine. And in the last 50 years or so, and for about another 50 years, people are going to experiment with sexual identification on a spectrum. So the first thing we want to acknowledge for you is that you had the courage to want to experiment with being on a spectrum of sexuality that was non-traditional. That's a very brave thing to do. We can't tell you in this particular parallel that we're speaking to you in now how well received that will be. We can say a few things, though. One is that 40% of the population, at least in the United States, will reject this kind of an experiment of becoming declaratively female in a male body or declaratively male in a or female original body. 40% of the population will find it perfectly acceptable and will become even more stridently affirmative of those decisions. Just like gay marriage was not considered an appropriate way to behave 40 years ago, except in about 15% of the population. Now, a majority of the people in the United States find it acceptable. How fast you go from 40% affirmative, 40% declaratively no, and the other 20% on the fence to being 60-40 or even 70-30 isn't really knowable because there's just too many parallels of possibility that exist now. There are more parallels that exist now than you're probably aware of. Trump isn't president in all of them. Biden is president in some of them. Biden was not president in some of them. Hillary Clinton won in some of them. Kamala Harris won in some of them. Al Gore won in some of them in 2000. George Bush wasn't reelected in 2004. A lot of different ways to have physical manifestations exist. What our counsel to you is, you need to be true to who you are and find support groups that will continue to affirm and protect your rights as best as you are able. Some of your rights are the ability to protect the rights that you insist that you receive are going to be beyond your control, because there are just enough people in power in Washington. What state do you live in?
California.
So in California, you'll be fine.
How about New Jersey?
But in the United States, there are just enough terrified souls of experimenting with a spectrum of sexuality in power that you may lose your ability to declare yourself male in a female body or female in a male body. It is, we hate giving odds anymore. 40% likelihood that your rights will get restricted for a period of 2 to 5 years. But by 2025 now, 2032, perhaps sooner, most of those restrictions will be completely eliminated. But rough waters are coming. And one of the ways that people feel safer when they're terrified of experimentation and of allowing everyone to feel like they have their own authority and they shouldn't just trust a few, is they restrict the rights of others, because having other people having agency over their existence terrifies them, because they don't know how to have agency over their own. So that was a long way to say 40% chance that some of your rights may get restricted temporarily. A more precise number at the moment is 38. Ask us again in 6 months, you'll get a different number. Because energy moves like this, it doesn't move like this. At least as far as how the timeline works.
Can I ask one more question?
Anyone may ask any number of questions. We just want to make sure everybody gets a chance to. Sure.
I've been instructed by various, or recommended by various people, that in light of my abilities to publicly do something, to address the situation in this country, to not do that, because I've done my duty in a sense in this lifetime, and my ongoing evolution actually itself would be an anchor for other people to
Yep.
to turn to and look to.
Yep.
So
Yep. You don't have to participate. Just your vibration of personal acceptance elevates other people here.
Okay.
You don't have to carry a sign or carry a badge or protest for it. Your self-acceptance is the highest vibration you can give to you. Might as well to others. We hope that helped.
That affirms what I've heard from other people with higher order abilities. So thank you.
We all bank
Thank
at the
you,
same
Sharice,
same
or
bank.
Diana. Sharice, do you have a question before we let you go? I know Angela's got one, but
I'll let other people go first. I've done Michael work over the years a lot. So yeah.
okay.
Cool.
All right, Angela.
I'm really fascinated by these parallel lives. Do I need to do anything to heal them or integrate them?
Well, there are parallel lives and concurrent versions of yourself. You can't be somebody else you're not. For example, we love to tell this, so we might as well dish it out. One of his concurrents is Justin Bieber.
Yes, believe it.
Yes, it's absolutely true. He's got 2 professional golfer concurrents, and they do their own thing. There's an Indian fellow who lives in New York City with a beautiful Indian wife who's in real estate in New York, residential. Very simple life relative to others. Retired judge in Minnesota. Wonderful woman, just retired off the federal bench. As far as your individual parallel versions of yourself, you can't integrate them all. And it doesn't do you much good to try to integrate them all or even many of them. Because there's a great line by the great American baseball player / philosopher, Yogi Berra, who said, when you come to a fork in the road, take it.
Take it.
And that's what parallel lives are about. He lives in Hawaii. There are versions of him that live in Hawaii. There are versions of him that never divorced his first wife and married his current wife of 37 years, Wednesday. There are versions of him that live in New Jersey and work for AT&T still at a vice presidential level. There are versions of him, and you can't merge those in. Now, there are versions of you that are very close, that you can receive and transmit energy to influence. And so what we would encourage you to do if you want to improve the overall status of all of your parallels is live the most self-affirming version of yourself that you can. That you are enormously valid, just as you are. You have enormous power, insight, compassion, appreciation, knowledge, wisdom, just as you are. That you are a great experiment. Yes, there are 2 trillion galaxies. Yes, there are 400 million, billion stars in each one of those galaxies. Yes, there are 8 to the 26th power planets that you're aware of. We have no idea how many sentient species you are. But somehow, out of the great cloud of energy, best term we could use for it, called the God Force or call it the Tao, call it whatever you'd like to call it. Labels are very helpful for your intellect, but they're limiting. Labeling anything automatically limits it. And something as vast as all the sentience that exists across all of that universe, all of those multiverses, might as well all of the different universes that there are. By the one that you're in is not the only one. There's probably trillions of other universes also. Yeah, it's a big place. Somehow you were one of the few energies that decided to descend from that higher state of pure bliss and pure love and experiment with fear, power, and learning how to reconnect with all of those, reading how to reconnect with other beings And remember, you love each other. If, for example, you think that you live in a sentient body, 200,000 years, sentient species, and most of the people on this planet have been in at least 10. Some of you have been in several hundred. But even if you've been in several hundred other planets, have you ever thought you were a cloud before? You were. Have you ever thought you lived on a water planet? You did. You like Dune? Anybody here like Dune? You were on a dune planet. Ha ha, welcome. You like sandworms. You lived on a dune planet. If you think you lived as a tree, you did. Ents, Lord of the Rings, you were trees. He was a tree. He loves trees. If you were on 200 other planets before this one, at 200,000 years apiece, that's less than 0.3% of the time that this physical universe has existed. Being alive to sentiently learn about all the things you're learning about is an experiment and a privilege. When you die, you will be greeted as heroes because you chose to come down here to the lowest vibratory state that consciousness can exist. So the best way to integrate your parallel versions of yourself, be the best version of you you know how to be. Help people, give people hope, love people. If they're afraid, support them. If you're afraid, ask for support. People are dying to help. Literally, they want to help someone. All of you people are here because you want to help other people. We don't see anybody here that's like, yeah, I'm just doing this because it's kind of fun. It's better than cards. You're doing this because you want to help people. If you do that, all of the other versions of yourself will feel it. Okay, we hope that answered your question.
Beautiful. Any other questions?
If not, we could just speak. We know how to do that. Go ahead.
Kate,
You're on mute though.
Good.
nope,
I am
not
you.
anymore.
I just wanted to ask if the current plan that my husband and I have for his health is the right plan. Is the most
What's he got? Do you mind me sharing?
sure he
Or if
has
you-
he has chronic acute pancreatitis.
Oh, okay. Well, you don't want that to turn into cancer.
Right.
So there's the underlying question.
Well, we have a plan. So I just want to know if our plan will take him back to vitality and health.
So there are herbs that we would encourage you to add to his regimen. Mint. We want to sort through the right ones. Basil. The sweeter herbs are the ones that are better for him. Cumin, peppers, no. Softer herbs, not even oregano. Mint, thyme to a limited extent. Basil, parsley, Italian parsley in particular, though that all those would be very good. Other than that, your real question is, do I trust my doctors, and is the agreement for us to help him sufficient? And so far to us, we don't have a picture of him. We'd be glad to answer this in more depth for no charge. Just send us through Mary a picture of your husband. So we'll see if he's surrounded by enough healers. It looks acceptably good right now, but we don't want to be 100% certain on that until we've actually seen his image, because we want to see who he's connected to. And we need an image of him in order to be able to do that. But we'll be able to do that if you send that to us. And again, as we said, as a favor to the fact that Mary's willing to entertain us here, then, and you're willing to be entertained by us here, then we'll be
I'll
happy
be
to
the
answer that.
intermediary, happily.
We'll be able to answer that question for you.
We need to get John healthy. Yes. Thank you.
Sure.
Leanne has a question. Thank you, Kate.
You might be on mute, Leanne.
Oh,
Yeah, she's
sorry, I
trying there.
on my phone and I had to find the button. Well, thank you. This is really fascinating. I study Vedanta, so I'm always trying to see where things like this align with Vedanta, and I love it when they overlap, and this really overlaps in my my mind. But I was a little overwhelmed with all of it. I have a question, like the evolution that we're doing, the older souls or more evolved souls. I think I heard that we're wanting to get to more of a we perspective.
Yep.
And then is there more to that?
Books of more to that than that.
Okay. Okay.
We could give us 3 minutes though, if you want.
Yes, go ahead.
The biggest transition that humans make in the string of their own individual lifetimes is from what we call seventh young. There are 7 levels of each soul age, or 7 infant lifetimes, 7 infant levels, 7 baby levels, 7 young, 7 mature, 7 old. When you go from 7th young to first mature, that's the most impactful lifetime you can have, because you give up, I am the one, to where do I fit in all this? His own father went through this lifetime. His wife had to die. His father's wife had to die in order for him to let go of, I am the one, I will do what's good for me, to what is my purpose here? He went from being Leroy to Grampy. And from there on out, it's about who am I in all this, not who am I. In the culture of civilizations, that's also the most challenging time to go through. From the me-identified culture, we make the best rockets, we make the best stock markets, we make the best medicines, to what are we doing to make sure everyone stays healthy? Is there enough food for everyone? Why can't there be clean water for those people who want it? How come healthcare is rationed? Why is education rationed? AI is a we thing. Yes, initially, right now, a lot of very, very intelligent people, by the way, intelligence only means that you recognize patterns, put labels on them, and know where to file crap. Well, newsflash. 98% of what you think you know is actually belief. Unless you experience something personally, it is belief about what something is or what somebody told you. You didn't know what happened to Julius Caesar. You read about it. And so you believe you know what happened. And maybe there were witnesses and maybe you got some of it wrong. He's actually a very good guy. One of his versions of his just passed away in Centerville, Ohio, about 1.5 years ago. God bless you, Harvey. And yes, you've all been famous in some way, shape, or form. He won a Nobel Prize in a different version for physics. He helped prove electron theory, helped build the atomic bomb. All of you have done some fairly famous things over the course of your lifetimes. And then at some point you decide, I want to move past that. The culture does too, where we decide everybody here is valid, everybody here gets a vote, everybody here gets a chance to declare their own existence. If you want to give your power away, that's fine. You don't get to give away mine. That is the biggest lesson right now. If you want to give your own power away, that's fine. If you want to give my power away, that's a hard no from me. To quote the great Simon Cowell. I don't let you give away my power. Younger souls are going to attempt to try to do that in the next 2 years. Not just here, in China and in Russia and in other places, because everyone can feel there's an acceleration of energy. Does anyone on the planet feel bored right now? All people who feel bored with their existence right now, go ahead, raise your hand. Oh, we didn't think we'd see one, but we thought we'd just ask. It goes, oh, there's one. We knew it. The guy who's trying to figure out if he's male or female is the one who's bored. Okay, good. We didn't think that would happen, but fine, fine, great. He's got it all handled. So, because you're in a period of great transition, like the French Revolution, like the American Revolution, like the American Civil War, like the Second World War, like the Battle of Hastings in England, 1066, William the Conqueror came over. Everything was different after that. When the Vikings invaded, when the Egyptians built pyramids, hey, by the way, you were all there for that. Wasn't that fun, building all those pyramids in Egypt? Yeah, you know you did. You know that some of those pyramids in the Central America you were part of too. Come on. You look at those things and go, God, those are so cool because you helped build them.
Mm.
And that kind of communal awareness of each other's greatness is what we're transitioning into. And that scares the crap out of people. If you've had 150 lifetimes, he's had 208, thereabouts. That's a lot for most people, but not as many as some. You've seen a lot of stuff. And if you didn't get on the physical plane until less than 100 years ago, and some of the humans that arrived on this planet have only been on this planet for 100 years. You know, Kash Patel, Christy Nome. I haven't been here all that long. They just haven't. And so they don't know what to make of all this. They just learned hemlock is bad. And you have been here through everything. Why are many of you interested in history? Because you were there for it. There are many people who would disavow history because they weren't on the planet when it happened, and so they don't believe that it was actually true. And you can't blame them. But you are here to help other people see that we can figure out a way to coexist as long as we agree not to give away other people's power as part of ruling things. And we can tell you that is probably those two concepts. If we can have you consider two things out of all this, it's hope is the most powerful tool in your tool chest. And it's okay to let somebody give away their power as long as they don't try to give away yours. If you demand that of other people, it creates a level of respect and allows you to have your own boundaries about what you'll tolerate and what you won't. It's okay to let other people give their power away. That's their lesson to learn. But you do have the right to stand up for, you can't give away my power, which is what's coming. What one of our people asked about earlier, what if people come for my rights? What do we do? You'll figure out a way to help. Eventually, you'll figure out a way in the next 5 to 7 years, figure out a way to empower enough people that those people who want to take power from you will no longer be able to. But they won't just give it to you. We don't think. We hope they do, but we're not convinced they will. Okay. Sorry, we went on a bit of a tangent there, but we think
All worth it. Yes.
context is sometimes helpful.
Very good.
Thank you.
Sure. We were told an hour, so if we want to do one more question, we'll take it.
Is there
And then
one
we'll-
more question? Charisse, did you want to come back with a question?
If no one else has, I do have a question. So lately, I'm pretty stable. I'm pretty balanced, I think, in most ways. But lately, some days I will just wake up with this really weird, bad mood, negativity lingering for several days. And then it goes away just as quickly as it appeared. And it feels a bit like it's outside of me. So
Yeah.
I wanted to see what's going on there. If Michael has if you have any
Yeah.
insights on that for me,
Sure. It's one of two things.
thank you.
Sure. And then, Mary, if we could have like 3 minutes to close, we would love that. We like to do a little hope message at the end.
Wonderful.
It's either you're ventilating your own negative vibrations, and when you bring them up out of your instinctive center, out of the tailbone area energetically, not right in your tailbone. It's not like your tailbone goes, hey, let's have a crappy day. But the energy resides in that area generally. It can make you feel really uncomfortable because you're taking things that were long buried and you're ventilating them so they can float up and out. Kind of like a bay leaf. You put it in the water and ventilates it up and out. Or another parallel version of you merged in some energy because it was better served to have it come in here and have you elevate it because you're operating in a more elevated state here than other versions of you are. By the way, if you're believing you have multiple states of existence that are similar to you, some of them are going to be operating better on some things than others, but you may be operating better on some things better than they are. You kind of like watching the old Star Trek thing in the sick bay where you had all those arrows going up and down in the behind the patient all the time. You know, you're doing really well in the love factor, but not really well in the self-esteem factor, maybe. And so they merge in some energy and say, could you elevate this for us? Because you've got this part of it handled. P.S. You're also sending them energy too, positive and negative. So it's one of those two things. So when it comes up, I feel really crappy today. Does it feel like I got hit with one of those medicine balls in a gym? Or does it feel like it bubbled up from out of you? And if it bubbles up out of you, then do something like work with obsidian, work with shungite, work with rose quartz, work with malachite, work with a couple of other stones. Something that you feel very comfortable with, but those are really powerful ones to help settle that. And if it feels like something's coming in, we would say this, like you got hit with this ball of energy in your chest. Typically, illnesses can come in that way too. You've all had an illness and suddenly just like showed up, like in the middle of the afternoon, you're feeling sick. Where did that come from? And then 2 days later, it's gone. Like, where did that go? Typically, you took something on there that had a gift hidden in it. And if as it goes away, look to see if you now have some greater perception or appreciation for something than you did previously, because you don't accept something into you that's lower vibration if it doesn't come attached to something that's got higher vibration in it. So that's the two ways we can see that happening for you.
Okay, that all makes sense. I've been wearing an obsidian bracelet pretty much every day because of this. It's maybe instinctive. Yes. Okay, great.
Great stuff. Obsidian's great stuff.
Wonderful.
All right, a couple minutes for us to sign off, if you would.
Okay, thank you.
We know you're trying to filter yourself as best you can. And the reason why you're in this group is because you want to do that better. We applaud that. It will be easier to do this in 10 years or 5 years or 2 years than it is now. Despite all the concerns we have about greater societal impacts, because you bring energy through you onto the physical plane. You elevate the entire physical plane by doing that. Every one of you do. You don't need to be a master channel or Uri Geller or anything like that to do this. You being you does that. And because you're doing that constantly, along with 8 billion others, the water is slowly floating higher. You'll be able to see and do things that help more people in 2 years or 3 years or 5, more than you can today. We promise you. Promise is one of them really big words like always or never. We promise you you'll be better at this in 2 years or 3 years or 5 than you are today, assuming you're still alive. And then if you're not, you're giving people angel support, guide support. That's really going to help elevate people. Just like you draw on the energy of people that have passed before you, and you can feel them helping you. And that doesn't stop. That ability of the planet to elevate itself further and further and further doesn't stop ever, never, ever, until you all have decided that you've had enough time as a Homo sapien, and you go up and you celebrate with the God force and everybody else. And then you'd look at another planet and go, let's try that one. And except it probably won't be as hard as this one. This is harder than 98% of all the sentient beings you can be. Which, by the way, you share sentientness with other beings on this planet, with whales and dolphins, now with parrots, yeah, and orangutans, and soon dogs and cats and pigs and others are all going to be sentient in the next 300 to 500 years. Every day, because you filter energy through yourself to the planet, you elevate all the boats here. Because there's 8 billion of you on the planet right now, the amount of spiritual energy coming through all 8 billion of those bodies is so high that it feels like the place is going to shake apart. There will be a lot fewer people in the next 200 years than there are now. You'll probably go from 8 billion to 3 billion people in the next 150 years. And the rate of elevation will slow way down because there's less bodies. But every day you exist, you elevate this place. Never doubt that. Never doubt that. And if you can bring hope and you can stand up for yourself, then that's the fastest way to elevation that we can think you can operate at. As always, we thank you for your time. And we appreciate
Thank you, Michael.
We appreciate the opportunity to speak to you.
Well, thank you, Michael. And Mike, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bringing them in. We appreciate that. We're going to conclude tonight, but I wanted to make an announcement. Next month, Pierrette will be our guest. Pierrette is here with us tonight. But it's going to be on a different date. We're usually on second Sundays, but this time it will be third Sunday because I'm out of the country on the second Sunday. And it will be at 4 p.m. Pacific because Pierrette's in the farthest east you can get on the continent. And so we're going to start it at 4 p.m. On Sunday. And I think it's November 15th. Is that correct? No, 16th. 16th? November 16th. I'm double checking. 16. November 16, 4 p.m. Pacific. And Pierrette will be our guest. And that will be the end of the recording.